What if humanity's future didn't just involve reaching the stars but living among them, not for a week, a month, or even a year, but indefinitely? Imagine a world where thriving in the vacuum of space becomes not just possible but routine, thanks to habitats that sustain themselves completely without relying on supplies from Earth. This isn't the script of a blockbuster film. It's the very real challenge scientists and engineers are tackling right now. As we set our sights on Mars, the Moon, and beyond, one truth becomes clear. To survive and thrive in these distant places, we need ecosystems that can function entirely on their own. In this video, we'll unravel the groundbreaking science and incredible technology behind self-sustaining space habitats, exploring how they could shape humanity's future off-world. So, how exactly do we turn this vision into reality? Let's dive into the intricate world of designing closed ecosystems for long-term space missions. Picture this, a spaceship on its way to Mars, carrying a crew of astronauts embarking on a journey that could last years. Outside, there's nothing but the cold, silent void of space. Inside, every breath they take, every drop of water they use, and every bite of food they consume has to come from a finite supply. Here's the challenge: resupply missions from Earth aren't an option. It's not just the sheer distance that's the issue, it's the massive costs, astronomical timeframes, and logistical hurdles of sending shipments to a spacecraft millions of miles away. This is where self-sustaining habitats become critical, moving us from short-term survival to genuine long-term exploration. At the heart of the problem is resource scarcity. Space travel leaves no room for waste. On Earth, we take for granted the abundance of air, water, and food, but in space, these are precious, finite commodities. Every kilogram of supplies sent into orbit comes with an enormous price tag. Launching cargo from Earth to space can cost tens of thousands of dollars per kilogram. Now multiply that by the needs of a crew over several years. You quickly realize that shipping everything astronauts need from Earth just isn't practical. And that's before considering the added complexity of keeping resupplies perfectly timed and on target across millions of miles. A single missed delivery could mean life or death. But the need for self-sustaining habitats isn't just about survival, it's also a question of ambition. If humanity truly wants to explore Mars, establish colonies on the Moon, or push beyond our solar system, we have to break free from dependence on Earth's resources. Imagine Mars as a new frontier, not merely a destination but a place where we can thrive. This vision requires habitats that are less like lifeboats and more like ecosystems, capable of recycling, regenerating, and sustaining life indefinitely. How does this work in practice? A self-sustaining habitat relies on closed-loop systems, technologies designed to ensure that nothing essential is wasted. Water is recycled from breath, sweat, even urine, purified and reused again and again. Air is constantly monitored and refreshed, with carbon dioxide converted back into oxygen through systems like artificial photosynthesis or biological solutions involving plants. Food, one of the most resource-intensive needs, could be grown on site through advanced hydroponics or even innovative methods like lab-grown protein. These processes don't just reduce reliance on resupply missions, they make living in space a self-contained, self-reliant experience. Now think about the cost savings this could bring. Developing these systems is no small investment, but the payoff is enormous. Imagine launching a spacecraft once, with everything it needs to sustain its mission packed into a sustainable loop, instead of coordinating and financing dozens of resupply missions. The efficiency isn't just economical, it's essential for missions that push the boundaries of human exploration. self-sustaining habitats are more than a solution to space's challenges. They're a stepping stone to our future as a multi-planetary species. They shift the paradigm of exploration from survival to permanence, raising the question, what other key technologies will make this possible? Let's take a closer look at how these systems are designed to function. At the core of any self-sustaining habitat is a remarkable idea, creating a closed ecosystem where nothing is wasted and every resource is continuously reused. To achieve this, engineers and scientists draw inspiration from the most efficient systems we know, Earth's natural ecosystems. Think about how, in nature, leaves that fall from a tree become nutrients for the soil, rainwater cycles through rivers and clouds, and oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged seamlessly between plants and animals. This interconnected balance is the blueprint for a closed ecosystem in space, where every element must serve a purpose and contribute to sustaining life. But how does this work in practice, especially in an environment as unforgiving as space? The first principle of a closed ecosystem is bioregenerative life support. This concept relies on living organisms like plants and microbes to regenerate essential resources. Take air, for example. Humans breathe in oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, which, without intervention, would quickly make the atmosphere unbreathable. In a bioregenerative system, plants or algae step in to act as natural filters, using carbon dioxide during photosynthesis to produce oxygen. This not only renews the air but helps maintain a stable balance of gases inside the habitat. In some experimental systems, cyanobacteria, a type of microorganism, are also being explored for this purpose due to their efficiency and resilience in extreme environments. These biological processes mimic how Earth's biosphere works, but they're scaled down and fine-tuned to function in the confines of a spacecraft or lunar habitat. The next critical component is water recovery. On Earth, we hardly think about the millions of ways water is recycled, from rain to rivers to reservoirs. In space, though, every drop must be accounted for. Advanced systems collect water from a variety of unexpected sources, such as condensation from breathing, sweat, or even urine, and pass it through intricate filtration processes to make it drinkable again. NASA water recovery system, for instance, can reclaim roughly 98% of water used aboard the International Space Station. It might sound unappealing, but the result is water that's purer than what you'd find in most Earth-based taps. This level of efficiency is absolutely vital for long-term missions, where every kilogram of water brought from Earth costs an enormous amount of energy and money. Now let's tackle waste. In a closed ecosystem, waste isn't just discarded, it becomes a resource. Organic waste, like leftover food or human waste, can be processed into compost to grow plants or converted into biogas, a type of fuel. This is often referred to as a waste-to-energy cycle. One fascinating approach involves anaerobic digesters, which use bacteria to break down organic material in the absence of oxygen, producing methane gas that can then power certain systems or equipment. Similarly, solid waste like packaging could be recycled into construction materials using advanced 3D printing processes, adding another layer of resource efficiency. A self-sustaining habitat also has to be energy efficient, running on renewable power sources like solar energy to keep these systems operational. Solar panels collect energy from the sun, which is abundant in space, and store it in batteries for use during periods of darkness. This ensures that the ecosystem's vital functions, air revitalization, water purification, and waste processing continue without interruption. By carefully managing energy inputs and outputs, these systems maintain equilibrium while minimizing resource consumption. When all of these principles, bioregenerative processes, water recovery, waste-to-energy conversion, and energy efficiency work together, The result is a self-contained cycle where resources are continuously reused. But these systems are anything but simple. They must be designed to handle fluctuations, adapt to unexpected challenges, and operate continuously without outside intervention. Achieving this is no small feat, and it's only possible through countless trials, cutting-edge innovations, and lessons learned from nature itself. Understanding these principles sets the stage for how they're applied in real-world designs. From the International Space Station to experimental habitats here on Earth, we'll see how these ideas are shaping the technologies that could one day support entire colonies on another planet. Let's explore how these concepts are being put to the test. What if the key to sustaining life in space doesn't come from machines but from life itself? This is the idea behind incorporating biological systems into space habitats. By harnessing the natural abilities of plants and microorganisms, we can create environments that are not only efficient but also beautifully self-sustaining. Imagine a habitat where algae grows in special chambers, converting carbon dioxide into oxygen, or where crops are cultivated in soil-free systems to provide fresh food. These biological allies could be the ultimate solution for creating closed-loop habitats in space, offering breathable air, drinkable water, food, and even waste recycling, all in one interconnected system. Let's start with algae, one of the most promising players in this vision. Algae-based air filtration relies on the incredible efficiency of these tiny organisms to produce oxygen through photosynthesis. In fact, some algae species like spirulina and chlorella are so effective at converting carbon dioxide into oxygen that they've been studied extensively for use in space missions. These microorganisms can be grown in compact bioreactors, essentially tanks outfitted with LEDs to simulate sunlight. As the algae grow, they absorb carbon dioxide exhaled by astronauts and release oxygen back into the habitat. This process not only refreshes the air but also helps regulate the balance of gases critical for human survival. What's more, algae have another benefit: they're edible. Rich in proteins, vitamins, and essential nutrients, certain types of algae could even serve as a supplementary food source during long missions. But oxygen alone won't sustain a crew. Enter hydroponic farming, a method of growing plants without soil that's particularly well suited to space. Instead of planting seeds in dirt, roots are suspended in nutrient-rich water or mist, allowing them to grow quickly while using less space and fewer resources. This approach is already being tested aboard the International Space Station, where experiments like veggie and advanced plant habitat are exploring how crops like lettuce, radishes, and wheat can grow in microgravity. The benefits are enormous. Beyond providing fresh food, plants in these systems also absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, much like algae, while improving the mental well-being of astronauts. After all, who wouldn't want to see something green and alive in the vast emptiness of space? But plants and algae can do more than just provide food and air. They're also key players in waste processing. Organic waste, like uneaten food or human waste, can be broken down by microorganisms into nutrients that fuel plant growth. This creates a closed system where nothing is thrown away, everything is reused. One fascinating example is NAS, a bioregenerative life support system experiments, which integrate plants, algae, and microbes into functional ecosystems. In some prototypes, waste is fed into bioreactors filled with bacteria that convert it into forms that plants can absorb, completing the cycle. This process not only recycles waste but also reduces the need for chemical fertilizers, making the system more sustainable. Of course, incorporating biological systems into space habitats isn't without challenges. Plants and microorganisms are living organisms, which means they are sensitive to changes in temperature, light, and other environmental factors. Microgravity, for instance, can affect how fluids move through plants and how they absorb nutrients. Algae bioreactors need to be carefully monitored to prevent overgrowth or imbalances in the system. And then there's the question of scalability. How do we design systems that are compact enough to fit into a spacecraft, yet robust enough to sustain a crew for months or even years? These are the questions scientists are grappling with today. Take, for example, the Lunar Palace experiment in China, where researchers lived in a completely closed environment for over a year. This prototype habitat relied heavily on plants, algae, and microorganisms to provide food, oxygen, and waste recycling. It proved that bioregenerative systems can work in practice, though scaling them up for real missions will require further innovation. Similarly, NASA's CELS, or Controlled Ecological Life Support System, has been testing how plants can thrive in conditions designed to mimic space habitats. These experiments are helping us better understand the interplay between biological and mechanical systems, paving the way for more advanced designs. So, while biological systems hold immense promise, turning them into reliable technologies for space missions requires the perfect blend of biology and engineering. This brings us to the next piece of the puzzle. How do we build and sustain the infrastructure needed to support these living systems in space? Let's explore the engineering breakthroughs that are making this possible. Designing a space habitat that can sustain human life goes far beyond growing plants and recycling resources. It requires engineering a finely tuned environment where every detail is controlled with absolute precision. Space is an unforgiving place. Temperatures swing between scorching heat and bone-chilling cold. Radiation levels are dangerously high, and even the slightest atmospheric imbalance can jeopardize lives. To create a habitat that supports life, engineers must replicate the conditions we take for granted on Earth, like breathable air, comfortable pressure, and stable temperatures, while adapting to the extreme realities of space. This combination of precision and adaptability is at the heart of building a closed system that works. Let's start with insulation, a critical aspect of temperature regulation. In the vacuum of space, there's no atmosphere to moderate temperatures, so surfaces can reach over 200 degrees Fahrenheit on the sunlit side and plummet to -200 degrees in the shade. To protect against these extremes, engineers use advanced materials like multi-layer insulation, or MLI. You've probably seen MLI before, those shiny, foil-like blankets often associated with spacecraft. Made of alternating layers of reflective film and insulating material, MLI is lightweight, highly efficient, and capable of reflecting over 90% of incoming radiation. This technology helps maintain stable temperatures inside the habitat, ensuring that equipment operates correctly and crew members remain comfortable. But insulation alone isn't enough. A habitat must also regulate humidity and air pressure. Without proper balance, excess humidity can lead to condensation, which causes equipment malfunctions and promotes mold growth, neither of which you want in a sealed environment. Engineers tackle this with humidity control systems, which use desiccants or specialized condensers to remove moisture from the air. Maintaining air pressure is equally critical. On Earth, we're accustomed to the atmospheric pressure at sea level, and even slight deviations can cause health problems like headaches, nausea, or worse. Complex life support systems are designed to monitor and adjust air pressure in real time, ensuring it stays within a range that's safe for humans. Then there's the challenge of radiation. Space is flooded with high-energy particles from the sun and cosmic rays that can damage DNA and increase cancer risks. To shield astronauts, engineers use materials like polyethylene, which contains hydrogen atoms that effectively block radiation. Some concepts even explore using water or liquid hydrogen as protective barriers, which serve the dual purpose of shielding against radiation and storing resources. Advances in material science are pushing these designs further, experimenting with nanomaterials and other innovative solutions to create lightweight yet effective shielding. Now let's talk about the structures themselves. Traditional construction methods won't work in space, so modular and 3D printed designs have emerged as game changers. Modular habitats can be launched in sections and assembled in orbit or on another planet, reducing the weight and space required for a single launch. Meanwhile, 3D printing allows engineers to use local materials like lunar or Martian regolith to build structures directly on site. This approach, called in situ resource utilization, dramatically cuts the need for Earth-based materials and lowers costs. Imagine using a robotic 3D printer to construct a habitat shell out of moon dust, providing not just a sturdy structure but also natural radiation shielding. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of maintaining these habitats is the role of AI and automation. Life support systems are incredibly complex, and managing them manually in real time would be overwhelming for a crew. That's where AI steps in, constantly monitoring conditions like temperature, oxygen levels, and system performance. If there's a sudden spike in carbon dioxide or a drop in pressure, the AI can adjust ventilation systems or alert the crew to potential issues before they become critical. Machine learning algorithms are also being developed to predict system failures based on patterns, allowing for preventative maintenance rather than reactive problem solving. This kind of smart technology is essential for habitats that must operate autonomously for long periods. When you put all these elements together, advanced materials, modular designs, and intelligent systems, you get a habitat that's more than a shelter. It becomes a finely tuned machine, capable of adapting to the harsh realities of space while keeping its inhabitants safe and comfortable. These engineering breakthroughs are already being tested in real-world applications, from the ISS to experimental bases here on Earth. They're laying the groundwork for the next leap in human exploration, turning these engineered environments into permanent homes on other planets. But what happens when something goes wrong? Let's explore the strategies for ensuring resilience and redundancy in these life-supporting systems. The dream of self-sustaining space habitats may sound futuristic, but the journey is well underway. Scientists and engineers have already conducted groundbreaking experiments and developed prototypes that test the limits of closed ecosystems, teaching us invaluable lessons about creating life-supporting environments in space. From orbiting laboratories to isolated research facilities on Earth, these projects provide a glimpse into what it takes to design habitats where every resource is recycled and life can be maintained indefinitely. Let's explore some of the most notable experiments that are shaping the future of space exploration. First, there's the International Space Station, or ISS, which has become a living testbed for closed-loop life support systems. Operating continuously since the year 2000, the ISS serves as humanity's longest-running experiment in living off the planet. Every aspect of life aboard the station relies on efficient resource recycling. For example, its water recovery system processes water from astronauts' sweat, breath, and even urine, purifying it to be reused for drinking, food preparation, and hygiene. This system recycles nearly all of the water brought aboard, making resupply missions far less frequent. The ISS also uses a device called the Oxygen Generation System, which splits water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen through electrolysis to ensure a constant supply of breathable air. Over 2 decades of trials on the ISS have refined these technologies, providing critical data on their long-term reliability. Yet, these systems also reveal challenges, like the frequent need for maintenance and the risk of hardware failure that must be addressed in future designs. Next, let's look at Biosphere-II, an ambitious and much larger-scale experiment conducted in the early 1990s in Arizona. Imagine an enormous glass structure sealed off from the outside world, containing several interconnected ecosystems: a rainforest, an ocean, a desert, and even farmland, all meant to support human life. 8 people lived inside Biosphere-II for 2 years, testing whether a fully closed system could sustain life. The experiment taught us a lot, both about the promise and the pitfalls of such systems. On the positive side, it demonstrated how different ecosystems could work together to recycle air, water, and nutrients. However, serious issues arose, like unanticipated changes in oxygen and carbon dioxide levels that threatened the inhabitants' health. Microbial activity in the soil absorbed far more oxygen than expected, creating an imbalance that required outside intervention. Biosphere-II showed just how complex and delicate closed ecosystems can be, highlighting the need for careful monitoring and backup systems. More recently, China's Lunar Palace experiment pushed the boundaries of bioregenerative life support systems. Conducted in 2017, this project involved volunteers living in a sealed habitat for 12 months, relying on plants, algae, and microorganisms to meet nearly all of their food, air, and waste processing needs. The Lunar Palace employed advanced hydroponic systems to grow crops like wheat, soybeans, and carrots, while algae bioreactors managed oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. What sets Lunar Palace apart is its emphasis on long-term sustainability. Over a year of operation, the system demonstrated remarkable efficiency, recycling nearly all waste products into useful resources. But as with any prototype, there were lessons learned. Maintaining environmental stability required constant attention, and ensuring a consistent food supply proved a significant challenge. Still, this project gave us a clearer picture of how bioregenerative systems might perform during extended space missions, helping us prepare for future bases on the Moon or Mars. Each of these experiments has added a piece to the puzzle of creating self-sustaining habitats. The ISS has shown us how mechanical systems like water and oxygen recovery can operate in space conditions. Biosphere-II has revealed the complexity of maintaining natural ecosystems in a closed environment, and the Lunar Palace has advanced our understanding of how plants and microbes can work together to sustain humans in isolated habitats. These efforts aren't just theoretical, they are practical stepping stones, helping us refine and adapt these systems for specific destinations in space. What works in orbit might need entirely different solutions for Mars, where gravity, radiation, and resource availability present unique challenges. So as we look ahead, the question becomes, how do we apply these lessons to the environments we'll encounter on the Moon, Mars, and beyond? When it comes to designing self-sustaining habitats for space, one size certainly doesn't fit all. A habitat built for the Moon would look vastly different from one for Mars or even deep space exploration. Why? Each environment offers its own set of unique challenges, and understanding these differences is key to building ecosystems that can thrive. From gravity to available resources to protection from deadly cosmic radiation, every variable must be accounted for. Let's dive into how engineers and scientists are tailoring habitat designs to meet the demands of these very different destinations. Let's start with the Moon. Our closest celestial neighbor is often seen as the first logical step for long-term human habitation beyond Earth, but living on the Moon is anything but simple. For one, the Moon has no atmosphere to speak of. There's no air, no weather, and no protection from the constant bombardment of cosmic radiation and solar flares. This lack of atmosphere also means wild temperature swings, from over 250 degrees Fahrenheit in the sunlight to minus 260 degrees in the shadows. On top of all that, the Moon has only about 1/6 of Earth's gravity, which could lead to long-term health risks like muscle and bone loss for its inhabitants. So, how do we design habitats for this barren, hostile environment? For radiation protection, one promising solution is to build structures underground or cover them with regolith, the loose soil and rock found on the Moon's surface. Layering regolith over habitats can act as a natural shield against radiation and temperature extremes, taking advantage of local materials rather than relying on costly Earth-based shipments. Energy is another critical need. With no atmosphere to absorb sunlight, solar power becomes a top choice for lunar habitats. However, the Moon's long nights, which last about 14 Earth days, present a challenge. Energy storage systems, such as advanced batteries or even fuel cells, would play a vital role in ensuring habitats remain operational during these extended periods of darkness. Now let's compare that to Mars, a planet with its own uniquely difficult conditions. Unlike the Moon, Mars does have a thin atmosphere, about 1% the density of Earth's, but it's largely made of carbon dioxide, so it's not breathable. This atmosphere does provide some protection against radiation, but it's not nearly enough by Earth standards, and dangerous dust storms can rage for months, covering much of the planet. Mars also has a weaker gravitational pull than Earth at about 38%, which presents similar health challenges to those on the Moon, though slightly less extreme. One key advantage Mars offers, however, is its larger size and more stable environment, making it a more realistic candidate for long-term colonies. Habitat designs for Mars often incorporate ideas like inflatable structures covered in Martian regolith for radiation protection. But Mars also opens up intriguing possibilities for utilizing local resources. For example, the planet contains water ice, which could be extracted and processed not only for drinking water, but also for making oxygen and even rocket fuel by splitting the water into hydrogen and oxygen. Solar energy is again a go-to source for power, but because Mars is farther from the Sun than the Moon, solar panels would need to be larger to capture sufficient energy. Some researchers are also exploring nuclear power as a reliable, scalable option to generate heat and electricity for Martian settlements. What about deep space habitats? These floating lifeboats face different challenges altogether. In deep space, there's no surface to build on, no local materials to use, and no proximity to the Sun for dependable solar power. Radiation exposure is even harsher, as there's no atmospheric or magnetic field protection like on Earth or Mars. Habitats for deep space missions must be completely self-contained, with even more advanced recycling systems for air, water, and food. Power would likely come from compact nuclear reactors, as solar energy diminishes the farther you travel from the Sun. The lack of gravity complicates things further. Unlike on the Moon or Mars, where some gravitational pull exists, deep space habitats would likely need artificial gravity created through centrifugal force, spinning part of the habitat to simulate gravity and mitigate the health risks of long-term weightlessness. As we can see, designing habitats for these destinations isn't just about survival. It's about creating ecosystems that adapt to their environments. The Moon demands rugged, radiation-proof shelters and energy storage solutions for long nights. Mars offers opportunities to incorporate local resources, but requires protection from dust storms and more advanced power systems. Deep space calls for entirely self-sufficient designs with cutting-edge technology to counteract the harshest conditions imaginable. Each destination pushes the boundaries of innovation in unique ways, but one challenge ties them all together: energy. How do we generate, store, and manage the power needed to sustain these advanced systems? Let's explore the role of renewable energy in ensuring the success of these habitats. Energy is the lifeblood of any self-sustaining habitat, and in space where every resource must be carefully conserved, renewable energy isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Without access to the abundant reserves of fossil fuels we lean on here on Earth, space habitats require power systems that are not only efficient but also perpetual. From providing air and water, recycling to powering lighting for crops and regulating temperatures, the energy systems we build are the backbone of these advanced habitats. But how do we harness renewable energy in the harsh, resource-scarce environments of space? Let's explore the key contenders: solar power, nuclear energy, and innovative energy storage solutions. Solar power is often the first energy source that comes to mind when we think about space. After all, the sun provides a virtually unlimited supply of energy, and there's no atmosphere in space to block sunlight as it reaches solar panels. For habitats on the Moon or Mars, solar panels are an obvious choice and have already been proven effective on missions like the Mars rovers and the International Space Station. Advances in solar panel technology continue to push efficiency limits, allowing panels to capture more energy even under less than ideal conditions. For example, some designs incorporate thin-film solar panels, which are lightweight and flexible, making them easier to transport and deploy. But solar power isn't without challenges. On the Moon, there are long periods of darkness. Lunar nights can last up to 2 weeks. And on Mars, dust storms can shroud the planet for months, reducing the amount of sunlight that reaches solar panels. To address these limitations, researchers are developing technologies like solar concentrators, which focus sunlight onto high-efficiency cells to generate more power from less light. These systems could allow habitats to capture energy even in low-light conditions. However, relying on solar power alone isn't always practical, especially for missions farther from the sun or in environments with intermittent sunlight. That's where nuclear energy steps in as a robust alternative. Compact nuclear reactors like NASA Kilopower project promise a steady, reliable energy source that doesn't depend on sunlight. Kilopower reactors are designed to produce power for years without needing refueling, making them ideal for long-term missions to Mars or beyond. They're also small enough to be transported easily and can operate in almost any environment, from the dark craters of the Moon to the shadowed depths of Mars during a storm. Nuclear energy's greatest strength is its consistency. It doesn't fluctuate with environmental conditions, making it a dependable cornerstone for critical systems like oxygen generation and water recycling. Of course, nuclear technologies require rigorous safety measures to ensure that both the crew and the surrounding environment are protected from radiation. While these technologies are promising, they are still being fine-tuned for use in space habitats. But generating energy is only half the battle. Storing that energy effectively is just as critical, especially for habitats that rely on intermittent sources like solar power. Advanced batteries are at the forefront of energy storage technology, with lithium-ion cells being the most common type used today. These batteries are compact, efficient, and relatively lightweight, perfect for space travel. However, researchers are also exploring next-generation options like solid-state batteries, which offer greater energy density and longer lifespans. For lunar habitats where energy needs to last through the lengthy lunar night, companies and space agencies are investigating flow batteries and molten salt batteries. These systems can store large amounts of energy for extended periods, making them indispensable for ensuring that habitats remain functional even when power generation is temporarily interrupted. Looking ahead, energy systems for space habitats will likely combine multiple sources and storage methods to create redundant, flexible grids. For example, a Mars base might use solar power during the day, nuclear energy at night, and advanced batteries to smooth out fluctuations in demand. This layered approach ensures resilience, allowing habitats to function even when faced with unexpected challenges like dust storms or equipment malfunctions. By understanding the intricate role renewable energy plays in these systems, it becomes clear that power isn't just about keeping the lights on. It's about sustaining every aspect of life, from the air we breathe to the water we drink. As we continue refining these technologies, we edge closer to habitats that can operate indefinitely, enabling humanity to live and thrive beyond Earth. And with this energy foundation in place, we can finally consider what's next, the vision for the future of self-sustaining space habitats and how they'll revolutionize life as we know it. The future of closed ecosystem technology is nothing short of extraordinary. As we look ahead, the possibilities for innovation seem bound only by the limits of our imagination. Advancements in artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and collaborative efforts between public and private sectors are poised to redefine how humanity approaches long-term space missions. These groundbreaking developments could not only make self-sustaining habitats more efficient, but also transform them into adaptable, intelligent systems that operate with minimal human intervention. Let's start with artificial intelligence. What if the life support systems in a space habitat didn't just respond to problems but predicted and solved them before they even occurred? This isn't far-fetched. AI-powered systems could analyze thousands of variables in real time, monitoring oxygen levels, water quality, energy consumption, and even the health of plants within the habitat. If carbon dioxide levels rise unexpectedly or a water filtration unit begins to underperform, the AI could make immediate adjustments, ensuring the ecosystem stays balanced. Machine learning algorithms would grow smarter with every operation, learning from past data to anticipate issues with increasing accuracy. Beyond just troubleshooting, AI could optimize processes continuously. For example, adjusting lighting systems for hydroponic farms to maximize crop yield while minimizing energy use, or fine-tuning temperature controls to conserve power without compromising comfort. These intelligent systems would act as the ultimate caretakers, significantly reducing the workload on human crews and allowing astronauts to focus on exploration and research. Then there's nanotechnology, a field that could revolutionize material efficiency and functionality for space habitats. Imagine building structures on the Moon or Mars using nanomaterials that are not only incredibly strong but also lightweight and capable of self-repair. Nanotechnology could enable walls that don't just shield against radiation, but actively filter the air for contaminants or regulate temperature by dynamically adapting to external conditions. These materials could vastly reduce the need for bulky, resource-heavy components, making habitats more efficient and easier to transport. Further into the future, nanobots, microscopic machines, might be deployed to maintain ecosystems at a cellular level. They could clean water supplies, repair minor leaks, or even monitor the health of plants and algae within the habitat. By operating at such a small scale, these innovations could keep systems running flawlessly with minimal human intervention. Collaboration will also play a vital role in making these visions a reality, and we're already seeing the foundations of such partnerships today. Private companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Sierra Space are working alongside government agencies like NASA and the European Space Agency to push the boundaries of what's possible. These partnerships combine the agility and innovation of private enterprise with the experience and resources of public organizations, accelerating the development of crucial technologies. For example, NASA Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the Moon, leverages private sector technology to build lunar landers and habitat modules. Meanwhile, private companies are taking the lead in developing next-generation life support systems, modular habitats, and robust energy solutions. This synergy not only expedites innovation but also reduces costs, making long-term space exploration more feasible. But the impact of these advancements goes far beyond space. The innovations we develop for self-sustaining habitats could have profound implications here on Earth. AI systems designed for space farms could improve agricultural efficiency in food-scarce regions. Nanomaterials that provide radiation shielding in space might revolutionize construction by offering enhanced durability and disaster resilience. Even the concept of closed-loop systems where no resource is wasted could inspire more sustainable practices across industries, helping combat climate change and preserve Earth's ecosystems. As we dream of these bold new frontiers, one thing becomes clear: the pursuit of self-sustaining habitats isn't just about survival in space, it's about redefining how we live wherever we may be. These technologies challenge us to think bigger, innovate smarter, and collaborate more effectively. The future is bright, and as humanity reaches for the stars, we bring with us the potential to transform not only life beyond Earth, but life on Earth itself. Self-sustaining space habitats represent more than just a technological challenge. They embody humanity's ultimate quest to push boundaries, overcome limitations, and explore new frontiers. These habitats are the convergence of innovation, survival, and exploration, merging cutting-edge science with our unyielding curiosity. In this video, we've unraveled the pressing need for these systems, from reducing reliance on Earth resources to supporting life on long-term missions. We've delved into the revolutionary technologies making this possible, like closed-loop ecosystems, advanced energy solutions, and bioregenerative life support. And we've glimpsed an exciting future where humanity can thrive not just on Earth, but throughout the solar system and beyond. The creation of closed ecosystems isn't just about surviving in the harsh void of space, it's about thriving. It's about building a foundation for sustainable living, whether on the Moon, Mars, or even in deep space. These habitats symbolize the start of a new era where humans are no longer confined to the boundaries of our home planet. They enable us to dream bigger, permanent colonies on distant worlds, vast research stations orbiting far-off planets, or even interstellar voyages into the unknown. Each breakthrough brings us closer to realizing what once seemed impossible, that we can become a multi-planetary species. But the potential impact of self-sustaining habitats doesn't stop at the edge of space. The technologies we've explored today have the power to shape life right here on Earth as well. Imagine agricultural techniques developed for space being used to combat food insecurity, or resource recycling systems designed for habitats helping to reduce waste in cities. Each discovery has the potential to create a ripple effect, improving not just how we live off the planet, but also how we live on it. As we look to the stars, one thing is clear: the challenges ahead are as immense as the opportunities. But if human history has taught us anything, it's that when we dare to dream, innovate, and collaborate, we can achieve the extraordinary. So, what do you think about this incredible future? Do you see self-sustaining space habitats as the next great leap for humanity, or perhaps as the key to solving challenges here on Earth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if this vision inspires you, make sure to subscribe for more videos on the future of technology, exploration, and the remarkable possibilities that lie ahead. Together, we'll continue to imagine, innovate, and explore the vast potential of the universe. After all, the journey to the stars is not just about where we go, it's about what we become along the way. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.